Now, just a little warning before we begin. There will be major spoilers in this video for the third episode of Moon Knight, so if you haven't seen it, don't want anything ruined, it is a good time to click away. Alright, so what did you think about the third episode of Moon Knight?
I think I ended up with more questions than answers, which is something that I like. I like that feeling of I have to figure it all out. I find that a very interesting thing. I don't know. It's a me thing. I like to go, okay, let's think about this. I want a show that makes me think.
Sure. I mean, I don't like shows that rely too much on mystery. Like every episode ends on a. I mean, it can work. I prefer character driven, and I'm not saying this isn't character driven, but I don't like over reliance on mystery. Where keep watching because next week you're gonna figure out what's going on, and then it's like the next episode ends like you got to watch next week because then. I'm not even saying that's what happened here. I don't feel it was that mysterious, but the one thing I was curious about is there a third personality in here?
There's so many questions, and yeah, there's definitely a third personality.
That's where I was.
Mark has many in the comics, so
Yeah.
I'm curious which one exactly this is. Again, I'm not a huge Moon
I'm not a
Knight lore,
huge Moon Knight lore either, obviously, but
so I'm sure someone in the comment knows exactly which personality this is, the most aggressive or
yeah, because I
whatnot.
was surprised because I thought, well, we're gonna just have the back and forth. That's gonna be fine, and then all of a sudden, heavily implied there was a third that neither Mark or Steven knew about. So interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested what the title meant for this episode. The friendly type. What is that referring to?
I'm
you
not
think?
entirely sure.
Exactly. And there's got to be a reason. I just don't understand it. I like that Harrow still walks around with all the glass in his shoes. Every time he
you can
walks,
actually
you can
hear
hear
it.
it. Oh,
I'm not sure how you do that with unless you feel no pain in your feet. I'm not entirely sure how that's even.
It ties into the whole premise of the series, which I feel like the series is like key facts are about justice and redemption. Harrow is the perfect example.
I want
Or
neither
atonement.
justice nor redemption if I have to put glass in my shoes.
His is like atonement.
I know. I understand the idea of atonement and self-inflicting
That's why
wounds and all that kind of strange stuff.
Self-flagellation.
Self-flagellation. There's the word I was looking for.
Yep. It's very interesting to me that Ahmet would even choose him to be her avatar. Think about it. He tells us at the very end of the episode, well, he tells Khonshu's little stone form.
Oh,
poor
poor
little
Khonshu. Yeah, he got tucked away in a stone.
He tells him that he enjoyed in dealing out the justice, the pain that Khonshu asked of him. He was so broken, but he enjoyed the pain. Why would Ahmet choose someone like that? She chooses and she rips out evil by the roots. She kills people, Minority Report style, before they can do
Yes.
bad. He has done bad. He's done bad, and he knows he's done bad, and he's trying to atone for it.
Yeah, but he's going about it in the wrong way. You can't minority report people. You just can't do
It's not
it.
his choice. That's Ahmet's choice.
Well, I get that, but
He's just on board with it because he doesn't want to inflict the pain with Khonshu anymore. He'd rather people apparently die beforehand.
I guess that's. I don't think that's a step up or the step in the right direction, but hey.
No, it's kind of a convoluted look at the world, obviously.
I did like that we had a moment in there where we had this meeting of the gods or the avatars, whatever we want to call it. And of course, it reminded me of Eternals where we had to have this kind of brief explanation as to where they are and why. It's the Thanos thing all over again with, we the Eternals, we don't, interfere. And the gods were like, well, we leave Earth alone to its own devices.
Well,
So this is, I don't want to say a problem with the MCU, but it is a problem that whenever you keep expanding into different corners of the lore, you have to explain why this is the first time we're ever hearing about this, why this is, why these gods never, and I don't know if they're going to go
well, it's because Khonshu was banished.
that's
At
not,
least
you're
once.
missing what I'm saying. I'm saying these gods have been around for thousands of years, right? They've influenced humanity before. They've had, they've cared about humanity or tried to, but they've been there. I know you're giving me a look right now, but
Because they haven't.
my point is we have gods that it's again this, well, where are these other powerful beings that didn't step up to do anything about Thanos?
Because they don't care.
Well,
That's the point. The gods speak through and they work through an avatar strictly for their own self-interests. They don't care if Thanos wipes out half the universe. As long as the one god can still influence love and music and art. They don't care how many people there are as long as her will is enacted on the people who are there.
I'm just saying it's you're always having to retroactively add things. I'm not saying that they cared or that they would have stopped Thanos, but it's always this. Well, we have to explain why this is something now happening. This is why this is never. It's kind of this weird coincidence when you really think about it. That yes, Captain America was the first Avenger back in the World War II in the 40s, but we're always having to explain why this time period happens to be when all these superhero type figures or all these gods are coming out of the woodwork. And I'm curious if they are quote unquote gods, because I mean, in the original comics for Thor, for example, they were gods, but the MCU kind of turns them into aliens.
I think these are still gods.
So
as far as we are.
I know, but I mean, it's kind of again, I'm getting way off topic here, but I think it's an interesting discussion. And hopefully, you listening do too. But what I'm trying to say is, we started out with like Iron Man, and Iron Man was really rooted in science per se. I mean, he makes this suit and now we've gotten to the point where, again, going back to Thor, we kind of tried to explain it scientifically, but they went out of their way to explain these are not gods, they're aliens, and they kind of, even that scene with Jane Foster where she's like, well, that's a this thing, and they're trying to explain it magically, and she's explaining it scientifically in the second Thor movie. And now we've just, there's just gods, and there's all these other beings, and, there's multiple realities, and there's the time variance, and, to me, it's just, I don't think it's bad because as someone who's read comic books pretty much their whole life, I understand this out of Marvel. But it's impressive that they've gotten to the point where you started out very scientific and now you've just gone all in on all these kind of crazy things.
That's because they worked towards it. They made it acceptable. They didn't jump off the deep end like the DC did, who just threw everything at you and said, deal with it.
I agree.
They eased you in.
I'm simply saying, when you actually stop and take a step back and look at it, you're like, wow, how did we go from Iron Man being like, or Captain America, technically, if you go before that, to having all these other crazy things so acceptable? It's impressive, yet, again, when you do kind of look at it, it's like, well, that's kind of this strange coincidence that all these things kind of are converging now. I don't know. Maybe people disagree, which is fine.
I kind of disagree, especially with the gods in Moon Knight. They are not allowed.
I'm not just talking about God, but
you have to isolate each one as to why their reasons. You can't just generalize the whole thing.
Yes, but there are other gods besides the Egyptian gods in the Marvel, the comic universe. They're just one of many pantheons that actually exist in the. We have Hercules. We have other.
Not yet. We don't.
But you know what I'm saying. So. Mm-hmm. Are we just going to eventually go all in where, yes, there's been all these gods, all these weird things all along, even though it starts out feeling like that was not going to be a part of this universe, that we're going to have a very kind of scientific comic universe?
And I think the moment they introduced Thor, they threw that away.
I don't think so, because like I said, they tried to explain Thor. They tried to explain him scientifically, that they're aliens races and that they're an alien race, and everything they see as magic has.
But they're still godlike beings who could have come to Earth at any point in time. They're stronger and better than anyone else.
So what I'm asking is, do you think the Egyptian gods here, do you think they are rooted in science as well, or are they just purely magic? And now we have Doctor Strange, which, again, more magical side of things. I mean, he's been around for a while, but...
No, I think the Egyptian gods are gods, and they're just not allowed to interfere on Earth. There are rules. They are at a specific place, that they are so far away that they can only influence an avatar.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
So,
I'm simply asking the question.
That they didn't come out of the woodwork to fight Thanos. They cannot.
I wasn't trying to say that they should have showed up for Thanos. I'm simply saying we again got an explanation as to why these things were not here until right now. Now they're coming back. I'm not saying they should have fought Thanos.
They've always been there.
Yes.
You just didn't know.
I know, but again, my point is, isn't it coincidental that all of these things happen in this short time period when they've all been around for thousands of years?
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay. But anyway, getting back to the episode.
Yeah, I know. I've got pages of notes and stuff
pages
to go
of
through.
Notes.
And
I just thought it was
jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I just thought it was a decent episode. I honestly didn't have... I'm surprised you have pages of notes. I thought it was a pretty mid, season kind of episode, kind of a starting to learn more, as you said. You had a little more mystery. I thought it was good, yeah.
I mean, I did get mad, though, at one line that they had Mark Spector say, when he was like, oh, we dancing? We fighting? What are we going to do? I was like, are you Poe now? Because that sounded entirely...
Well, he
that
is
didn't
still...
sound like... No, that didn't sound like Mark. That didn't sound like how Mark talks. That sounded 100% like Poe Dameron.
Well, maybe that's the other personality.
No,
we just figured it out.
No, that one he was...
No, I like it. This is our first Disney or Marvel Star Wars crossover. I'm kidding, I don't want that, but...
Yeah, you better not want that.
No, I'd never want these two to cross. Please don't do that.
No, I just didn't like that the line sounded like a very Poe line. I'm like, I don't know if Mark would say that.
You talk first?
Yeah, exactly. That was the exact line. Oh, we dancing? We fighting? What are we doing? What
But
are
I
we
mean,
gonna do?
I get that. But if you'd never seen Star Wars, I don't think that line would have like necessarily stuck out to you as being odd for Mark.
I didn't like that Marvel had to resort to shaky camera action again. I
Yeah,
hate shaky
God.
cam. You know me. I'm somebody when I watch, I'm hunting for details, kind of subconsciously, but I do. And as soon as they sit there shaking the camera
that's why
all
they
over the
shake
place,
it.
I can't see what I want to see. I can't see all of the extra details that are just making up a scene.
But they shake it so they don't have to worry about the details, so that everything doesn't have to be I mean, that's the
Right.
reason behind
Well,
shaky cam. It's
and
not.
it makes the action look more actiony because the whole
No.
world is trembling.
I truly believe the idea behind shaky cam is not to make it look more actiony. It's to mask the fact that if you slowed it down and really look at it, I mean, they're not punching each other. They're not throwing each other into cars and killing each other. So shaky cam, I could be completely wrong. But shaky cam to me is just, it's an excuse to like, oh, maybe we didn't have, we don't
there
have the
was
best
a-
choreography here. So we'll we'll switch shots.
They're
And,
trying to make a running around parkour scene look interesting.
yeah, I don't know. A lot of movies use it, and it makes me, I don't know about nauseous, but sometimes you really notice it, and you're like, God, just please hold the camera steady.
I get it. You can't
Yeah.
hold the camera. It's exciting.
Yes, I get it. They're running through crowds, and it's all exciting, but
Well, like you said, I really liked the Pyramid of Giza scene. I thought that was
yeah,
really
it was
cool.
interesting. Yeah,
I was really mad when Harrow showed up and defended himself by saying that Khonshu breaks his avatars, which shows in Mark, and that's the big question. Was he broken before, or did Khonshu do it? I think he was already broken. I mean, he said to Layla that he'd always been managing it, but
Yeah.
it got worse. It got worse when Khonshu possessed him. He broke what was already damaged.
Well, we asked last week, when did Steven come around? So it's making it seem like Steven has been there, like you said, long before Khonshu ever.
He's always had the personalities, but he had it under control through either medication or willpower. He could kind of control things, live regular daily life, and then he became Khonshu's avatar, and it broke him.
But I mean, kind of going back
more.
to that, like, we're talking about how the gods don't really care what's going on, yet they cared enough to, put him into stone because he interfered with the sky.
Because
So
that's every human on Earth is like, okay, why is there eclipse now?
they
Why are
don't-
the stars flying around?
Yeah, but they don't. I mean, at this point, is that really the strangest thing some people have seen on planet Earth?
No, but it's against their rules to interfere that way.
Okay. But why do they care if they don't care about Earth?
I mean, remember, originally they were saying, oh, Khonshu, the only thing he can do is make a wind blow and rattle some things around. And here he is now going far and
but
above what he is allowed to do.
My point is, if they're just looking at Earth as a place to just do their thing, and they don't really care about it itself, why do they care if... I mean, it's not like everybody's going to see the sky and be, oh my goodness, Khonshu is real and he's coming back. Like, nobody is going to think that.
No, but mass hysteria could cause possibly the other gods' plans to not go the way they want.
Well,
I
then
mean,
at
each
that
god
point...
has their own interest. Khonshu's interest is to punish the guilty.
And this is where I move my next piece into position and say, well, then why don't they care about Thanos? Wouldn't Thanos wiping out half the planet be something that the gods
But it wasn't
would...
something they did.
Well,
They only care
sure.
about they only care about angling against each other, it seems like.
Okay, but that still doesn't make sense. If all they care about is their own little plans on Earth, then certainly Thanos wiping out half of the galaxy
He
and
was beyond their control. Their avatars don't have that kind of power.
I'm not saying they do. I'm simply saying, in one breath, they're telling us we don't really care about Earth. We just kind of go there and do our own thing. In the next, it's like, oh, you interfered with Earth too much. Now we have to punish you.
Well, yeah, because they can punish one of their own. They couldn't punish Thanos.
Well,
He's not
sure,
one of
but
them.
I'm just saying, like, it is. I don't know.
This
Again,
is your aggressive negotiations.
it is. This one's really. I think we're disagreeing here. I enjoy the.
It's because you're getting too into the nitty gritty when you.
I always
and
get into
I know
the. You were
that
just
is
telling me how
important,
you look for the details,
And that's
I
important,
look.
but at the
You
same
look for
time-
the details in the scene. I look for the details in the
But
story.
they can't control and they can't punish Thanos. They have no power to do that. They can't
But they're
punish
gods.
Khonshu.
What kind of power
Because
do they have?
They have power over each other, plenty, and they have power to control one individual. And the powers they give apparently aren't that great.
So the power they only seem to have is over themselves. So what is that even?
Eh,
I mean, so you would think they would actually care about. I guess they live in this other
dimension
dimension
place.
place. So in that respect, maybe they don't care. But I don't know. We're getting off topic again. I don't know if people are still listening and being like, "This is interesting," or if they're like, "God, just talk about the episode."
Well, let's talk about the suit's abilities. We did get a kind of more of a description about what does the suit do. I mean, Khonshu said, healing properties. It can heal you. That's cool.
Yeah, and clearly he got like he got javelined and
Javelin,
speared
oh my
and.
goodness. He seems to have a never-ending supply of moon-shaped weapons there.
Hey, why not?
Moonerangs.
Yeah, moonerangs.
Moon daggers.
I guess those are lances, not javelins, but whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing ish.
It also was bulletproof. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw the cool
Well, yeah.
scene where the bullets all kind of stuck and then he flung them back.
I like the scene where their cape looked like the moon.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of comic booky. That was a nice little touch, but yes.
We know it has strength because there was extra strength when Steven was using it in the previous episode.
Yeah.
Definitely some extra strength now, but it doesn't seem like an overwhelming amount of strength. I mean, he got lanced a bunch of times and
Yes.
he didn't immediately throw them all off. It took him a bit. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the suit, I like that we're getting some properties of it, and I do like that they definitely showcased when Steven is in control, it is, I am Mr. Knight.
Yes.
He's fancy.
Mr. Proper,
Hey guys,
the dapper gentleman,
hey guys,
yes.
let's all talk this out. Nope, Mark, take over. We're
Yeah. I am wondering what Steven did with the three kind of, goons that they fought on the rooftop there.
Steven didn't do anything.
I mean, but he let them go, but
he probably just straightened them out. He's like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm leaving. You go about your business. And he
it
left.
was kind of strange that they just let him at that point.
Or he just ran off.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, he did run out and get to a taxi before they came down the roof.
Well, they said that he let him go, or you just let us go.
Well,
and then
you
he's
could say you just let him go as a reason if he ran off.
I suppose.
I mean, that would...
Okay, fair enough. I will concede that one.
I can literally go, if I ran away from it, someone would be like, well, I guess they let us go, especially if they were winning.
All right. Yeah, I mean, if I'm getting my butt kicked and the dude runs away, I'm not going to be like, oh, let's chase him down and get my butt kicked some more.
Yay!
Good idea.
I do like that Steven and Mark are coming to an understanding and a dynamic
the cooperation,
between the two.
yeah,
That
a
they're
little
starting
bit
to
of
understand.
a little bit.
There's a little give and take. He lets Steven have control. It's like they're both understanding the position of being the backseat driver is no fun. They don't do anything. They're stuck. They're trapped.
Yeah, well, that's got to suck, especially if you're conscious, on some level, consciously.
Conscious.
Thank you. Consciously aware of what's going on.
Yes. Which clearly they are at this point. They used to not be, but he is, because he's like, hey, I can tell you what these mean. I know what it means, because he's seeing it. I loved, side note, Layla's clothed weapons.
Oh, her necklace, you mean?
No, it wasn't exactly. It was like
kind of like a necklace.
No, it was the
it?
clasp on her jacket.
Oh, well, it kind of looked like
But it was also stabby.
It looked ominous. I mean, as soon as I saw her wearing it, I'm like, well, that's a gaudy piece of something.
I was worried that it would, because it's moon shaped and moonlight. I'm hoping it's somehow not signaling that she's going to be the avatar for Khonshu.
Oh,
because
well,
Mark
Khonshu
is doing all he
interested.
can to keep that secret from her. Because maybe he's worried she would volunteer, seeing as how it is affecting him. And he does not wish this on anybody because Khonshu sounds like he's a little hard to please.
Yeah, could be a little bit of a dick.
But I do like that Khonshu seems to know that Mark could free him. He's like, when the gods imprison me, he's telling Steve, tell Mark to free me. So,
Yes.
So that's... And I know we've got an episode coming up. It's been in all the trailers, the little episode trailers, that somehow he's going to end up in some sort of institute.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's
I
something.
forgot about that, yeah.
No, is that an actual physical institute, or is it somehow his personality is being trapped in his mind by another personality? Who can say?
Well, maybe we'll actually see, maybe one of them gets banished, and that's just how they imagine it is, that they can't get the glimpse of the outside world anymore, so they kind of construct a mental prison, if that is making any sense whatsoever.
Oh, it totally makes sense. I mean, they did that in an X-Men line.
Yeah, I mean, X-Men with Legion does that a lot. Yeah, Legion.
Where he locks away all of the personalities.
Yeah, Legion is a fun character. They tried to do that show with him, I think. I watched.
What really was going
Does
well.
it?
It was really
I don't,
interesting.
yeah.
But we lost interest fast.
Yeah. I love X-Men, so it's one of those things I'm very picky about when they try to do them. But anyway, I don't know. I like the episode.
Like I said, I like that the themes are starting to become very clear about judgment, atonement, redemption. I mean, even Mark, you can see how much this is wearing on him and how the things that Khonshu asks of him are too much. They're a burden.
Yeah, I agree.
A burden that apparently broke Harrow so badly that he decided that he's going to seek atonement in this crazy fashion and then become Amet's avatar so that
You can minority
nobody
report
can be
people.
evil again.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing is, when you have that kind of power to quote unquote see the future and judge people ahead of time, are you judging people based on what they're doing bad in and of itself, or evil in and of itself, or anything that would move against you? Or do you kill the people who would possibly jeopardize your agenda and save the people who are for your agenda? That's the problem with having that kind of ability to see the future, right? And judging people based off of it. You're seeing who they're going to become in terms of, your own perspective, right?
Right.
And so that's what I think it is. I think, the people being killed are people who wouldn't bow before Amet.
It's still hard for me to believe that the little old lady from episode 1 is somehow still going to commit an evil.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe she, like I said, maybe she wouldn't bow. Maybe it wasn't about, see, that's what I think. I don't think it's about them actually being evil or doing bad things. It's, are they going to worship or not? And if they're not going to,
Well,
if you
and
can
bow
see down the
according to
road,
who?
that's what I'm saying. So that's what I think the whole kind of thing here is. It's not that he's actually seeing people who are going to grow up. I mean, she wasn't needing to grow up anymore. But anyway, people who are going to go down the road and do bad things, or people who are going to do bad things against you.
I was still sad, though, that the gods didn't believe him. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we could have brought up the
they could
scarab
have
and other
possibly
things.
sent the other avatars to look.
Are they not like paying any attention? I mean, I guess they're.
He could easily turn the scarab thing on him. Oh, I took the scarab from him because he was going,
I mean, it was kind of I was just out in the sands walking around. I mean, is that a crime these days? Come on, guys. That's kind of how I
well,
felt
how much
about that
can
scene.
they see?
Well, sure, but I mean, he acknowledges he was out there. I mean, yes, obviously Egypt people are going to walk around in the sand quite a bit, but you still. What do you mean you were out in the sand? Where exactly were you out in the sand, and what were you doing? You don't just go for a stroll in the middle of the desert, right?
Like, depending on when, they're Egyptian and who knows.
To me, that was the one part of the episode where I'm like, well, you admitted you were out there, so what exactly were you doing? I mean, maybe a little follow-up question there. That's just me. If I'm an Egyptian god, I might inquire just a little deeper.
Right, because they don't even have eyes and ears everywhere. They can only see where their avatars go.
Yeah. All right, so solid episode. We got 3 more to go. We'll see where that takes us. But for now,
we've hit the halfway.
Yeah, but for now, that is all we've got for you this time. I think this was a much longer review than we intended. We got off topic a little. So if you've made it this far, thank you for listening to the ramble. And until next time, thanks for watching.